a Russian analyst who was the top source of the Steele Dossier, pleaded not guilty to lying to the FBI earlier today. That analyst is accused of lying about the information he provided Christopher Steele, whose dossier was funded by the Democratic National Committee and Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign, and was used by Democrats to accuse Donald Trump of colluding with Russia. Danchenko called the charges against him slander and designed to unfairly malign him for political purposes. Joining us with reaction is today's company, former White House advisor for the Trump administration and host of America First with, yes, Dr. Sebastian Gorka, and the president of Judicial Watch, Tom Fitton. Gentlemen, great to have you both on.
Seb, I'm going to start saying your name like that just so you know.
You got to do it with the Sebastian Gorka.
Everybody tries. Very few people can get the accent. But that was pretty good, Mercy. That was pretty good.
I try. Wait till you see my Trump impersonation. It's even better. But, you know, let me start with Fitton, of course, because this is like something you've been tracking. Both of you have been tracking. So I was so excited to talk about this topic because it was so painful when I was at the White House. Democrats have pushed this fake Steele dossier as proof that Trump collided with Russia to win the 2016 election. We saw former State Department spokeswoman Morgan Ortagus call Adam Schiff out on this. So let's take a look.
You may have helped spread Russian disinformation yourself for years by promoting this. I think that's what Republicans and what people who entrusted you as the Intel Committee chair are so confused about your culpability in all of this.
Well, I completely disagree with your premise. It's one thing to say allegations should be investigated, and they were. It's another to say that we should have foreseen in advance that some people were lying to Christopher Steele, which is impossible, of course, to do. But let's not use that as a smokescreen.
I just can't even hear that man's voice. And if I said collided, it's colluded. Tom, let's start with you. What's your response to Morgan making a very tough argument and asking a tough question to Adam Schiff?
Oh, Schiff is still lying. He was lying then. He was lying now. Look, anyone who looked at the dossier, not knowing anything else, it was obviously a lie. And it was quickly, and contrary to what he said, it was quickly investigated and found to be wanting. That's why they were talking to Danchenko to begin with, the FBI, because they weren't able to get anything checked out. So they started asking him additional questions about who his sources were, because they were all desperate to get Trump. Now, Devin Nunes was looking at the information that Schiff had access to. He saw it was a lie. Schiff saw the underlying intelligence, just like the FBI did. He knew there was no basis for it, yet they kept on pushing it to try to destroy Trump. First, it was try to upend the presidency or upend his campaign, and then to try to destroy and disable his presidency, while all the time, remember, protecting the gang of Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, and Barack Obama, who broke their oaths of office, arguably violated the law, certainly in Hillary Clinton's case with her emails and her pay-to-play scandal at the State Department, and they froze the Justice Department for 2 years to harass Trump based on this lie. Schiff, they all knew it was a lie at all material times.
And you know, Seb, the interesting thing is it wasn't just the Democrats here. The media, they ran with this. They were obsessed with this story. They covered it tirelessly. They gave it credibility. You know, even the Washington Post media critic Eric Wimple, he called them out for it. What do you think their responsibility is here? I think I know what you're going to say. But to set the record straight now that we're having all this conflicting evidence that none of it was true.
I think that question is pointless, and not one person has apologized. I know people still have the Pulitzers they were awarded at the Washington Post and the New York Times for this lie. This is a smear campaign. We now know, read the indictments, 27-page indictment for Sussman. Now we have the Danchenko indictment. There, chapter and verse. We now know the Hillary campaign wanted to take the heat off her 35,000 missing emails. They invented a scandal, a Russian smear. They used Sussman, they used Danchenko, they used Steele to inveigle their way into the DOJ, to the FBI, to their old buddies, and to create a smear campaign out of whole cloth. And now we know, it's been revealed, that the quote-unquote Clinton foreign policy advisor in the Sussman indictment is none other than Jake Sullivan. So hold on to your horses, guys. The man who currently has the title of National Security Advisor in the Biden administration is one of the key players in the largest political smear campaign and hoax of American history. This is, I was worried. I'll tell you honestly, I was worried that John Durham is playing out the clock. He's AWOL. He's disappeared like Pete Buttigieg. But these indictments, you read them, and this is serious. And it is laying the groundwork for the real hammers to fall on the really culpable people like Comey. And it is fascinating. There has been utter radio silence from Hillary, Comey, and Brennan since the Sussman indictment. And that is a very interesting sign.
Tom, what's Judicial Watch doing in all of this? Are you trying to get more information?
Yeah. I mean, there's still classified records that the President Trump, declassified, but had been withheld nevertheless. Look, much of what we know is because of our FOIA work. I hate, Nunes talked about these records. We got the Pfizer records. We showed that the FBI was paying Steele. I mean, this is the other shoe to drop, Seven, guys. We've got to have the FBI held accountable here.
Yeah.
We had information showing that Bruce Orr told them in August of 2016 that Steele was a political operative.
Right.
Yet they still worked with him and tried to bring him in. And on top of that, you have all of this activity against Trump directly by people like Comey, McCabe, and Rosenstein. Right. We've got a really clean house at the Justice Department and the FBI because, in my view, they're as culpable as the Clinton campaign. In fact, it was a joint operation against Trump.
Right. Well, Sebastian, I know this is going to be almost impossible to keep you to a minute or 30 seconds, but switching gears, we've seen a new USA Today poll ask what President Biden should do in the next year. 20% said that he should retire or quit. Are you surprised that number isn't even higher?
I am. I mean, he has, what, a 40% approval rating. Who the heck is that 40%? Are you on drugs? Are you taking what Hunter Biden used to take? Guys, wake up. The most disastrous president of the modern age. He has done in 10 months what it took Carter 4 years to do, and the world is lying at him. Not only the disastrous policies on national security and economics, but also his flatulence. How embarrassing.
You two are just way too much fun. Thank you, Sebastian and Tom. Love your insight and always enjoy your perspective in what's happening from the left.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Hi, Rob Carson here. If you love watching Newsmax, you're really going to love listening to our new podcast. It's called the Newsmax Daily. I host it, and I give you the best briefing of the big news of the day, top newsmaker interviews, and even, yes, a few laughs. I know it's hard to believe. So if you're driving, walking, exercising, just about anywhere, you can connect with the Newsmax Daily with me, Rob Carson. Find our podcast online or go to iPhone, Spotify, iHeart, Stitcher, and more, and start listening today.